Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. I'm your host, Jake Falcon, the founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. And I'm joined by my permanent guest, Cory Bittner, the co-founder of Falcon Wealth Advisors. And Cory, this week, how was another tongue twister? We're talking power plays and price pressures. How about that one?
All right. Alliteration. I like it.
So before we dive into today's episode, though, Cory, I want to talk about the U.S. government being shut down. As of the recording of this episode, the Democrats and the Republicans did not agree, and the government is closed for business. Now, that doesn't mean everything's closed, just certain things. What's your opinion on this, Cory? What's the impact to our audience, and what's your opinion?
So the impact to our audience, it comes through in a multitude of ways. I think at the end of the day, though, I don't think there's that much of an impact. I think that, this is not the first time it's happened. It's probably not the last time it's going to happen either. Social Security payments, Medicare, et cetera. It's not like that really stops, but it's more about the services that come to an end. But my opinion, Jake, is that it's very silly. It's stupid, that these politicians do this. And my opinion is that the system itself is just fragile, right? And these people they're using what they can to negotiate leverage and power. And that's really what it all boils down to.
Yeah, and I've talked about this maybe before, but I think just any country is going to have flaws in its system. And so I'm sure France shuts down and England or whatever. And so
they've got their issues too.
The key here is I don't want people to think they need to sell their stocks.
Yeah, the market has shrugged these things off historically.
Yeah, and the market could go down, though, if it's prolonged. However, this is not a reason to blow up your portfolio, because the idea is that if you own individual stocks and bonds and consumers are still buying those goods, I mean, people are driving their cars today.
Correct.
They're shopping today. They're going out to eat today. They're heating and cooling their homes today. They're drinking water. So I don't want you to think that just because the government is stopped, the whole economy is stopped. That's not how this works. I think SBA loans might be the biggest thing impacted. But again, that's not a reason for you to go and blow up your financial plan or your portfolio. I think I agree with you. I think it's dumb that these politicians, this is just part of it though. And this is why I don't want to get into politics, Cory, because I couldn't handle this. I couldn't handle the inefficiencies and the negotiating, because both sides are blaming each other, but in the end, it's both of their faults.
Correct.
It's not either side, it's both their faults. And so
I know.
So be it though. So
do you think that people, let me ask you a question, Jake.
Ahead.
Do you think that people want to blow up their investment portfolios because of a government shutdown?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes. That's why I just said not to.
I know.
I think there's people out there, Cory, that said, I need to sell everything because the government shut down and the market's going to crash. Yes, I think people do think that. I think it's wrong.
Right.
But that's why I said, I think people do think that, Cory.
Okay.
That's the whole point of this episode.
Yeah, no. I haven't had any conversations with people that have wanted to do
it. Doesn't mean because you haven't spoken to somebody that they're not thinking it though. So that's why I want to say it. So that's not a reason. Now, again, I can't predict the future. The market could crash, but the point is your financial plan should already know that the market's going to crash. I already know the market's going to crash, Cory. Did you know that?
You're right.
I already know it. This is the key though. I don't know when or by how much.
Right. That's the hard part.
But I do know the market will crash. We build our clients' retirement plans knowing that. So we take that into account for two reasons. One, when we're looking at their average rate of return for their target, we factor in market corrections and crashes. And two, this is probably even more important, cash flow wise, we make sure that they don't have anything in the stock market that they need to access for a minimum of 5 years and ideally 10 years. And so if the market crashes next year or whatever, it doesn't affect their cash flow because we already have that built-in buffer. So I know the market's going to crash, Cory. I just don't know when or by how much.
I agree with you.
Oh, thank you. All right, good. So I got a time for a quick commercial before we dive into today's topics. So again, thank you to our subscribers. Please thumbs up, like, and share, 5-star review. Also, if you want more great content out of me and Cory, go follow us on Instagram. I'm Jake_Falcon_CRPC. And Cory is Cory Bittner KC. All right, Cory. And real quick for our audience, if you want a free copy, that's right, FREE, of my best-selling book, Retiring Right, Smart Steps for Exiting Corporate America, just click on the show notes. There's a form to fill out, and then you get your free ebook sent over to you. So, all right, Cory, now are we ready?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll kick us off here. Home sales heated up in August, Cory. Sales of newly built homes surged 20% in August, the biggest monthly gain since August of 2022. Does So that's 3 years. The median price rose to over $400,000 with strong activity in the Northeast and the South. Analysts credit builder incentives for this. So why does this matter for high net worth investors and retirees? Is it signals, Cory, that renewed housing momentum despite high rates. And for Henry's, high earners not rich yet, it may be a chance to enter the market with builder-backed deals. So real quick, Cory, then I want to hear your opinion. This is a classic case of incentives driving behavior. So if you're in the market, this is what I like to tell people is don't let rates scare you. Look at what the builders are offering. I'm a big fan of negotiating that price. Negotiate the price down. Don't worry as much about the rate. Now, obviously, the rate's important because you got to make sure you can afford your mortgage payment, but don't let that be a deterrent against buying a home. Make sure that you get a great price and maybe get some of these builder incentives out of the deal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the price that you pay is ultimately more important than the rate. I don't think that you should make any big assumptions that home prices are going to continue to climb or home prices are going to fall, but recognize what makes sense in your financial plan. If you're entering that home, that the home ownership, right? If you're entering the market for the first time, you want to be smart about what works as far as your financial plan goes. And if you're close to retired or already retired and you own a home, whether or not you have a mortgage, think about what that home represents. I think, Jake, you and I have talked about this quite a bit on the show, but ultimately, it's an asset, but it's also a liability. There's a lot of cost that's involved in home ownership. But in 1 month doesn't mean anything specific, right? There's a longer trend. But I think your point about incentives driving behavior is a lot of what we've seen given this big spike in August.
Yeah, it's good, Cory. All right, go to the next one here.
All right, Disney streaming costs climb. So Disney announced that it will raise prices on most of its streaming subscription plans by $2 to $3 starting in October.
Are you? I got to interrupt. I always interrupt you, Cory. I can't help myself.
Sorry.
Are you a Disney subscriber?
Yes.
You got a baby at home, right?
That's right.
Have you ever gone through and looked at their catalog? I did this the other night with Rachel.
Yes.
There's some old, I think the Boy Meets World was on there.
Yeah.
And then there was all these old, we went to classic cartoons.
There's a lot.
And it was very nostalgic. Like Rachel was
Totally.
remembering all these shows and cartoons she watched. But there's other stuff on there, right? On Disney. It's not just Disney stuff, isn't it? They're like Hulu or ESPN, and there's a lot in that bundle.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, keep going.
So the hikes, Jake, they follow backlash over the company's handling of Jimmy Kimmel Live, which was briefly pulled off the air after controversial comments by the hosts.
What did he do? Was he insensitive to what happened?
Yes, I think so.
I didn't follow it.
Yeah, I tuned into it a little bit, but I largely tuned out of it. There's just a lot of opinions flying around and opinions at play there. But the controversial comments were made by him in response to Jimmy Kimmel's removal. Some fans canceled subscriptions in protest, and I guess Disney decided to raise costs.
All right, why does this matter to our audience, Cory?
I think it just shows in a lot of ways, I think it shows a little bit, Jake, that inflation, can squeeze even the entertainment industry some. I think that, as costs rise, I think that some people will just reevaluate what the value of something is. I think, though, that at the end of the day, I don't think it has a huge impact, but I think that people that are subscribers to streaming platforms, you should regularly evaluate whether or not it makes sense for you to continue making that payment.
Yeah. So it went up a couple bucks, which shouldn't make or break you anyways if you're paying for this stuff. But to me, this is more than a pricing tweak. Okay. It's a reminder that media companies are navigating both financial and cultural pressures.
Totally.
So, and it's a watch how this affects subscriber loyalty, which is crazy, Cory, because I don't think this was an issue for cable companies. You know what I don't like? And I don't know what he said. And if he was inappropriate, then shame on him. I think it's difficult to be a comedian, though, because they always are trying to push the line. Like Dave Chappelle is famous for this. And
right,
some people hate Dave Chappelle and some people love him. But I'm pretty sure when they put him on Netflix, his shows are super popular.
Right.
And he probably has people hating him, watching him, as much as the people that love him are watching him. So I just think it's interesting that I don't want to see censorship. However, I think it's a free country. If people don't want to pay Disney because they don't like what somebody says on there, that's fine too.
Right.
I think it's a little petty of Disney to raise their prices over it. I think it's an excuse. I think it's an excuse for them to raise prices.
I agree.
So you just have to be aware of this, and it's okay to vote with your pocketbook. You don't want to have Disney because you don't like what happened? Good. Cancel it. Good for you.
Exactly.
The key here, and I think you alluded to this, is just you need to understand where your money's going and why. And this is what we boil down to all the time, Cory. You got to be aligned with your values. If you're spending money on something that you don't value or it goes against your values, then maybe it is time to cut it. But it's crazy. To me, it's crazy that they have to worry about this. So now all the people that are on Disney have to worry about what they say. Now, granted,
Right.
he might have been extreme because again, I didn't follow it that close. I
Yeah.
knew he did something inappropriate. I don't know how extreme it was. I just think it's a shame that I'm okay with comedians pushing the line. I don't
Sure.
think that would make me cancel my service because of what a comedian said. So that's another place to check in. But again, who am I to tell somebody what's important to them or not? For me personally, I'm not going to cancel Disney because I didn't like what one person said. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cancel Disney because I don't watch it.
Right.
That's why I would cancel Disney if I'm not using it.
Yeah, and I would ask the question, am I going to cancel because they raised the price? Like a bunch of people cut their subscriptions, so they're going to raise the price for people that are subscribers. Like that is, even if it's a couple bucks a month, Jake, my opinion is that this does also point to a bigger story about inflation. It's just a couple of bucks, but inflation is sticky. It gets absorbed in all parts of the economy.
Yeah.
And
They're
Disney's
also
saying, we're going to pass this along to our customers.
Yeah, and what sucks is they're punishing the people that didn't cancel.
Exactly.
So I don't think that was a wise move. But again, I'm not a CEO of Disney. I don't,
Right.
Anyways. All right, good one, Cory. Thanks for sharing that one. All right.
Sure.
So Visa costs threaten startups. So what happened is that President Trump proposed a $100,000 fee for new H-1B visa petitions. And founders warn this could block access to global talent and stifle innovation. And so this matters for our audience, Cory, because for investors backing startups, this could impact growth and hiring. And for people that work in tech, it may affect job mobility and team dynamics. So here's my stance. So talent is the lifeblood of innovation. And this proposal could choke early growth, especially in sectors where global expertise is key. So I get the president probably trying to kind of encourage hiring local talent. However, you just have to be aware that if you work at a startup or you invest in startups, this could change things. This could shift some of the momentum there. What's your take?
I think it's a good thing, in my
Really?
opinion, Jake. I do.
Wow.
I think it's a good
tell
thing.
me why. Tell me why.
Because this H-1B visa process is a way that big employers and companies in the United States can bring in people from outside the United States to come in and work for them. When people here, Jake, people that are born and raised in the United States need to go to college. The cost of college is very expensive to go and get jobs at these companies. When meanwhile, these companies are bringing in people from outside of the country that don't need to follow that same path. I think it actually is a good thing for that reason. I think it levels the playing field some.
Yeah, good point. I like that, Cory. You're right. People are paying for a college education and they might have $100,000 in debt.
Right.
So, all right.
So if you think about it that way, $100,000 fee on the petition, right? I think it's interesting. I don't think it's a bad thing, though. Some people would say this is America shooting itself in the foot, right? But I don't think so. I think it's actually leveling the playing field for people that are born and raised and are educated here and want to go and work for the biggest and best companies.
It's good. And ultimately, I think that you just need to interview well and educate and add value and do the things to get the job. So,
yep.
All right. What's next, Cory?
All right. The FTC takes on Amazon. Opening arguments began in a federal court last week as the Federal Trade Commission accuses Amazon of using deceptive tactics to enroll and retain Prime members. The case centers on alleged dark patterns in the sign-up and cancellation process, with Amazon executives potentially facing personal liability.
Why does this matter?
Yeah, so I think the FTC's case around dark patterns.
What does that mean?
I don't know exactly. I guess the way that they're getting people enrolled in Amazon Prime and the way that people have to cancel them. I think it goes beyond Amazon though, because if regulators win, it could change how subscription-based companies operate, like streaming services, gyms, SaaS, software as a sales company, the way that these businesses operate. But we'll see. We'll see what plays out. I mean, we've talked about some of these big companies and legal cases on this show in the last few months anyhow. The FTC taking on Amazon doesn't mean that anything will change.
I think SaaS is software as a service.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say sales?
Yeah, that's
software
fine.
as a service.
Yes, that's fine. So you're right. I think this is a shot across the bow. Is that if the FTC wins, this could set a precedent for how digital platforms engage their consumers. And I think you need to be an informed consumer, but that's not always easy. And sadly, probably what is it? The average American, I don't know what it is, 5th grade education. I don't know what it is. So you have a lot of people that, right here on our phones or whatever can get on Amazon and subscribe, and they don't even know what they're fully doing. So I think transparency is good and accountability is good. You shouldn't have to trick your consumer into paying
Correct.
for your services.
I agree.
I have a problem with that.
I agree.
So shame on Amazon for doing that. I have a problem with any company I have 2 problems with companies. One, that trick people into paying for their stuff, or 2, that make it hard to cancel, or they make money based on laziness, right? So that you just keep, kind of like Disney, you just keep paying. You don't notice
all kinds of subscriptions.
Yeah, you're paying month over month. So they should make it very easy and transparent on signing up and understanding what you're doing and what you're paying, and very easy to cancel. And to me, that's a sign of a company that's confident in their service. So shame on Amazon. I hope the FTC wins. I hope they do win. So
have you been tricked into subscribing to Amazon Prime?
No, I think I had to sign up for my book. Quick plug for the book.
Yeah.
Retiring Right is on Amazon. I think I had to create a Prime, or I don't even think I did a Prime. I think I just had I didn't even have an Amazon account. Rachel does that. So I think I had to set up an Amazon account, but I don't think I did Prime. But we're on Prime because of her, but she knows what she's doing. She knows why
she didn't get tricked. That's good.
No, she didn't get tricked on there.
Good.
I hope not.
Yeah.
So I doubt it.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Cory. All right, the next one here, Pfizer's power play. Pfizer is acquiring weight loss biotech Metsera for up to $7 billion. The deal includes a promising GLP-1 drug that helped patients lose 8% of their weight in just 36 days. Wowzer. It's pretty good. I don't know if, first off, go seek medical advice from your doctor. This show's not medical advice, right? Quick disclaimer. So why this matters is that obesity drugs are booming, or a booming market.
Yep.
And for high net worth investors, this is a potential growth engine. And for retirees, it's a health innovation to watch. And so to me, Cory, Pfizer is pivoting smartly. This deal could be a game changer in the weight loss space. And it's a strong signal for biotech investors. But you got to be careful here. Don't just go out there and start buying a bunch of biotech stocks, think you know what you're talking about. And again, this show's not advice, but basically my words of wisdom or tip is to stay diversified. Don't go chasing the hot fad. If you want biotech or healthcare exposure, that may make sense. But first, you got to go look at your financial plan and see what makes sense there before you go out there and invest a penny in anything. So good for Pfizer. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't think this weight loss drug is a fad. I think it's here to stay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Cory?
Yeah, this seems like a signal that, Pfizer they kind of missed out on the first wave of this, right? These obesity drugs. So they're sort of paying up to stay relevant, acquiring this company. I think it's probably, longer term, to your point. I don't think it's a fad that's going to go away. It can ultimately be bullish for the space, but it's getting crowded, right? It's getting competitive. And I think that, from an investment standpoint, owning the winners matters. As far as the space goes, as opposed to just owning a company that has an obesity drug.
Yeah, you gotta stay diversified. Don't get caught up in the hype.
That's right.
Because these things could blow up. You gotta be careful with that.
They've only been around for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, it's just one. Horrible side effect or something. Something happens. I don't want to wish that on anybody, but I'm just saying, something could happen, or another player could emerge and say, "Hey, with Pfizer's pill, you get all these bad side effects. With ours, there's half as many, or whatever." And boom, now nobody's using Pfizer's pill at all. And it's gone. Yep. And that billions of dollars was wasted. So you got to be very careful in pharma. You got to be very careful with that. So, all right, good. Cory, what's next?
All right, Jake. Next, we've got T-Mobile changes their CEO. So T-Mobile announced the COO, Srinivasan Gopalan, will succeed.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that one.
Will succeed Mike Sievert as CEO effective November 1st. Sievert will transition to vice chairman, focusing on strategy, innovation, and talent development. Gopalan, credited with doubling growth at Deutsche Telekom Germany, brings leadership experience from Vodafone, Capital One, and another firm. So the impact here, Jake, I think, is that there's going to be a new CEO at T-Mobile in November. And at the end of the day, I think that new leadership changes means new strategy as far as talent and innovation goes inside of a business. But, I don't think for individuals, there's a huge impact here. I think it's just another leadership change at a big company. But it could mean a different directional change for T-Mobile, which is, something to keep your eyes on.
Yeah. So again, this show's not investment advice, Cory, but if you own any stock or company that has a leadership change, that's a great time for you to review the fundamentals and why you own the company. And so I think that's the key here is that, and we do this for our clients. So again, that's why our clients hire us at Falcon Wealth Advisors, Cory, is to do all of this research and due diligence and analyze all of these things. But it looks like this Gopalan has a strong track record, and that could inject some fresh energy. Does that mean the stock's going to go up? Not necessarily, but my point is if you own stocks or if your advisor is owning stocks and you have a major leadership change like this, that you just want to revisit and reconfirm why you want to hold the stock, sell the stock, or buy the stock. And so that's just what this is a chance to take a step back and figure out what's the strategy and what are we doing here, and try to make some sense of what their strategy is moving forward. But leadership is not always a good thing. Changes are not always good things. So you just have to be aware of that, what's going on. All right, Cory. So we've got a listener suggestion or question. I'm going to read it off and hear your thoughts on this. So thank you for the listener who sent this into Luke. So again, if you have any suggestions or questions, please email luke@falconwealthadvisors.com, and Luke will make sure that we talk about your suggestion live here on Upticks. So the listener raised concerns about the rising energy demand from data centers, Cory. So, right, they're building these huge data centers and you got to power them, right? They're not just
Correct.
They're not just empty buildings with no HVAC, right? And so the question is, are retail consumers subsidizing these mega users? And what role could these SMRs, they're basically small modular nuclear reactors, play? So do you have a thought on this before I share my thoughts?
Let me hear your thoughts, Jake.
Okay. So I actually asked Connor about this in our investment management meeting this week. And so he said that a good point he made is that a lot of these, so the concern is that are the utility companies going to pass on these potential higher costs to the retail consumer because of these data centers? And Connor argued that a lot of these utilities are regulated. And so they can't necessarily just start raising prices without some sort of checks and balances system in play. And so I think that is something just to be aware of. I think, from an investment standpoint, this would be a reason to potentially look at you. And again, it's not advice for compliance, not advice, but utility companies, right? They have an opportunity here to make more money.
Totally.
And so energy is probably going to be part of the new frontier.
Absolutely.
And while I think SMRs are promising, they're not really approved yet. So we just want to keep an eye on how utilities respond, but I wouldn't worry about your electric bill quadrupling. I think if that happened, that there would be major protests against these data centers coming into these communities, and that would be a problem. And they'd be run out of town, basically. So I think that hopefully a lot of these utilities also use renewable energies like wind or solar to help power them. And maybe these SMRs, as long as it's done safely. And yeah, you should be an informed consumer and pay attention to your bill. But I think energy costs tend to go up over time anyways. I think it will be a strain on the grid, but I think that these big, powerful mega data centers are going to find a way to solve that because they need those data centers running probably 24/7, Cory. So they're going to find a way to power them, whatever they need to do. And I don't think it's going to hurt the consumer as much as maybe some people are worried about. What are your thoughts?
I will take the other side of that, Jake. I am concerned that yes, it will be subsidized by the consumers, and people are already seeing their power bills increasing. And here's one other point we didn't talk about here. There have already been a lot of protests. There are communities all over the country that do not want these big data centers coming in. And they do, and they're outside of St. Louis in Chesterfield. There was one as recently as last week. And basically there was a company signed a non-disclosure agreement. So the company wasn't publicized, but basically the people in St. Charles, right outside of St. Louis, showed up, were vocal and loud enough that they basically withdrew their plans for this data center because people are concerned about exactly what we're talking about here today. So I think, that's my opinion.
So what's your answer then? What are they supposed to do? Stop using electricity?
No, it's not stop using electricity. It's recognize that costs are going to continue to increase. And you should have a financial plan that accounts for that. And that Going back to just like subscriber costs for Disney, the same thing is true with your power bills, right? When that goes up, we've talked about how people have a personal inflation rate, but what you pay for the price of electricity in your house is not really something where you have the option to just go to another competitor. That's why I think this could actually be a really interesting topic over the next several years, because
you can do that.
Data centers are going to need power. What's that?
In Texas, you can shop your energy.
Really?
Did you know that?
I don't think I did.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
I don't think so.
So it's very confusing to me, but like you can go and pick who you get your energy from. You shop it.
Can you do that in Kansas or Missouri?
No.
Yeah.
But my point is, I think that might become more popular. So maybe you will be able to shop it nationwide. And you're right. Maybe the cost will go up, but I don't think it's going to be as much as people think. It might be a penny.
We'll see.
But you're right. More energy. That's the deal. That's the new frontier. That's the deal. AI and all of this tech, it's going to require more energy. And it's just part of innovation. It's like, I'm sure there was a lot more steel used when we built the rail system.
Totally.
And that probably used a lot of energy, right? Or I listened to a podcast the other day that when electricity was invented, that put a lot of people out of jobs.
Right.
Because the people that were making the candles or lighting the torches and all that stuff they didn't need them anymore. So I think with innovation comes disruption, and you just have to be prepared to roll with it. So the key component, like you said, Cory, I loved it, is you got to be aware in your financial plan. Make sure you know where your money's going and stay diversified from an investment standpoint. Look for opportunities, and hopefully you're making money in one place because it's costing you more in the other, and hopefully it kind of washes out a little bit. So that's why, again, you got to stay diversified and meet with your financial planner when in doubt and make sure things are just. But my key here, though, Cory, is I don't want people getting too caught up in the future because nobody knows.
Correct.
You're right that it could go up, but we don't know that. It could go down.
It could.
It could go. What if local municipalities start taxing these data centers and say, you know what, for all this energy consumption, we're going to tax you. And then the energy costs go down.
It could happen.
So it could happen. So I think you got to roll with it. That's what's kind of fun. The world changes. And so you got to just be prepared and roll with it. Good question. Thank you for the listener that sent that in.
Great question.
Great question. All right, Cory, you got anything, any updates, recommendations for books, shows, movies, anything cool you want to share as we wind down today's episode?
Jake, I think you watched this TV show. Cassie and I watched it. Did you watch the show Wednesday?
Yeah. Don't share it. I haven't seen the new season.
Okay.
Rachel got on to me last night because I wanted to watch. There's some new show on. We didn't watch it. Some silly show on like TV. I don't know. I think it's an advertising show. And I was like, you want to watch that? She's like, no, Jake. There's like 5 shows we've been wanting to watch. And every time I want to watch them, you want to watch something else. Wednesday's in that list. Is the new one good?
I didn't like it as much as the first season.
No.
Personally.
Bummer. We started watching the next season of Only Murders in the Building. I think that show's solid.
How many seasons of that are there?
I don't know, like 5 maybe.
Lots
you ever watched that one?
Building, huh? No, I haven't. Cassie has watched it.
It's fantastic.
I haven't watched it.
Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. I mean, they do a fantastic job on that show. It's really good.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Jake. I kind of ebb and flow with, there's so many TV shows and so many movies and so much stuff to watch that I'm like, at the end of the day, it just has me sitting on my couch looking at a screen, whether it's my phone or a TV screen, that I kind of have the feeling sometimes, it's just me personally, where I kind of get turned off of watching TV shows in general, just because I'm like, is there something else I can do with this time?
Good call, Cory. You could read.
That's right.
I think reading is way better than watching TV. And I actually watched something last night. The Wall Street Journal started interviewing millionaires. This guy was like a billionaire, but it was really well done. It was like 30 minutes. I watched it on my phone, but that's better than watching just some silly, goofy show.
Right.
Because it was basically this guy was sharing how she asked him very pointed questions. Like, how did you do this exactly? And what happened? And then what was fascinating, Cory, at the end, she had him, his guy's last name is Ricky. He's one of the owners of one of these private jet companies. But she asked him all these questions at the end, and he had to rate it on a scale if he thought it was luck or skill. And he largely leaned towards luck.
Yeah.
But he argued that you put yourself in a position to get lucky, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, the old adage, right? The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah. Because it's not like this guy didn't work hard. Yeah, but it was pretty cool. Pretty cool show. So
let me ask you one more question, Jake. Just while we're on this subject real quick. because I know that OpenAI, right, the makers of ChatGPT have just rolled out this. There's going to be a social media platform that is going to be AI created content. And
Really?
and Meta has the same thing that they're rolling out. This, I think they're calling it Vibes or something like this. But do you have any interest, Jake, in watching something that's purely AI created? Whether it's a reel on your phone or a TV show or a movie, like, is that compelling or interesting to you, or not at all? Because it's all AI generated.
I would only be interested if it was curated for me specifically, and it was a masterclass. Like, I would want to watch it if it was about being a better wealth advisor, maybe a better golfer, better husband. So that I would be intrigued by, because if AI could take all of the golf tips on the internet and boil it down to like a 30-minute course for me, then I would. But to watch silly, goofy reels and videos from AI, not at all interested.
Same.
So if they could curate it if I could plug in, like, or wealth management, I was like, I want to learn from all of the great wealth management companies out there. And then I had something AI. That's what I use AI for now, by the way.
Right.
So I'll say that, you're you're a wealth management company expert. I'm looking at hiring these types of people. Give me some advice on how I should go about doing that. And it'll go comb whatever's out there published about this and help me formulate my own strategy. So I like AI for that, but no, for entertainment, not there.
Yeah.
Not there.
Same.
I would rather watch human created entertainment.
Same.
Not computer generated entertainment. I like human creativity, not computer creativity. Yes. That's just me. So
I like it. I'm with you on that one.
We'll see how that plays out.
Okay. I was just curious.
All right. Well, as always, Cory, thank you for joining me, and thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website at www.falconwealthadvisors.com and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.